Okay, folks, welcome back to another fantastic edition of Opali Presents Know Your Pros. Today's guest, we have Jaime Barraza, the project manager over at Servpro of Monrovia and El Monte. They are San Gabriel Valley's preeminent restoration experts, covering homeowners and business owners throughout that area in LA County. Jaime and the Servpro Monrovia and El Monte team are the guys you want on the job. Jaime, thank you for being a guest with us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Henry. I'm really excited and happy to be here.
Well, I'm stoked too, Jaime. You're a dude that I met, it almost was maybe 2 years ago through BNI, which is a common
Yep.
theme here on Know Your Pros. But what struck me about you was that you're a young dude who has quickly ascended the ranks at your franchise and has really become the face of the franchise itself. I mean, folks know Homero and Alicia, your co-owners, but they know even better Jaime because you're the project manager. You're the dude who that homeowner or business owner is going to be dealing with as they go through this restoration process. You
Right.
guys cover, water damage, fire damage, smoke, mold, you name it. If it's a disaster, Servpro's got it. So tell me how you got into this field. We were talking about it a little before we started shooting here. What led to you getting into the restoration business?
Yeah, great question. So I was going to school, getting my bachelor's degree in communications
Mhm.
beforehand, and it was communications with an emphasis on public relations and more of a core focus on crisis management. So during my time going through school, it was primarily looking at dealing with crises and how to manage those crises, both in and out, and internal and external, as they say. So I was on my way out of school and or completing, getting my degree, and just had to grow up, right, as they say. So I had to start becoming an adult. So I started throwing my resume out there and I had stumbled upon the business of restoration, actually, looking at just different things of if you literally type in crises on Google, things start popping up under restoration. It's kind of a weird thing how Google works like that. And so I was like, huh, okay, this seems like kind of an interesting line of work, if you will. So started applying, throwing my resume out there, and one thing led to another. Funny enough, we're talking about it. I saw the ad on Craigslist, and
Yeah.
I was like, hey, why not? It's on Craigslist. Like it should be legit, right? Anything on Craigslist it should be legit, and um, and so I threw my resume out, and as you mentioned, Alicia had caught wind of my resume, saw it, and I think we had a phone interview initially, and then it led into an actual in-person interview, and it went well because here I am. So that's kind of how I initially stumbled upon it. Was this kind of what I was kind of learning in school had kind of got me intrigued about what does that actually mean in crisis management.
Right. And you don't often find guys in the home services space who might be classically trained. And I'm not saying that you're classically trained, but I mean, you went to school for crisis management. I mean, like, probably goes along with, setting expectations, quelling the fears of people who might be going through something like the worst day of their life, right? And when you're dealing with a restoration company, you've had something catastrophic happen to your home or business, which definitely brings up that training that you had. Good work is hard to come by these days, especially in the home services world. And you seem to fit, to a T. You had what it takes, and I mean it shows in where you're at right now with your franchise. So I want to ask, like, with all that said, what is it that Jaime kind of brings to the table, and why should, I suppose, somebody call Monrovia and El Monte's franchise over any other restoration business? What is that difference to you?
Yeah, 100%. So I think, when it comes for myself, I started off, funny enough, I started off as marketing assistant with Servpro, and that led into the marketing manager. and I wanted to get more involved in the project side of things. I wanted to start really learning the ins and outs of this work. So that's when I started diving into project management. And so what was nice about that though was I had the background of crisis management, of dealing with people's crises, but also with a background of marketing and being able to be the problem solver for a lot of these guys' issues, if you will, for our clients' issues. And so I think with me the personal touch that I add to these projects, I think is what really makes a difference because I'm able to get in there and I make it all about the client. I don't make it about us, what we can do. I make it about what do they need? What exactly are they looking for? And that's always the key thing in these projects. What exactly are they looking for? What are they looking for in hiring a company like Servpro Monrovia? What is their experience, even with a restoration company?
Mm.
I ask those questions. I kind of probe them, as they say, a little bit, so I kind of gauge on where my approach is going to be with them. And so I think that in answering your longer the question you had at the end there, I think that is what really separates us is we do a little bit more digging, we dig a little bit deeper so we can deliver exactly the service that they want. Henry, I don't know if you've ever heard of the old saying about, the build me the perfect burger kind of situation, but that's exactly what we do. We ask, all these different questions so we can deliver the perfect burger to these clients. We can deliver the perfect restoration service to these clients. And so I think when a customer or a client or potential customer client is looking for those different things, I think those stand out more than anything else, is knowing that they're going to get exactly what they want. And sometimes they don't even know what they want, right? So there's an education curve there. And that's where, my experience and my knowledge that I have really comes into play.
Right. And I mean, like, I know that in the restoration business, you've got to have a license. You got to be you have to have a contractor's license in order to do this type of work. Um, there are lots of businesses out there who do have that licensure, but are somewhat more fly by night. They don't really have their processes hammered out. They may have a license, but that doesn't make them, as customer centric as what I kind of sense you guys are all about in Monrovia. So that is what comes obviously with hiring the right people like you, Jaime, and then also working with a franchise as well respected as Servpro. What you guys deliver and what you say is you make it like it never even happened. And that's, I mean, I see you shake your head, but yeah, I mean, like it's an agreement, right? I mean, that's what
Yeah,
it is.
100%. Yeah, no, I think that is what is a huge benefit of being under a franchise system is exactly that. It's the support that we have of our headquarters, our mothership, as we call it, that is unmatchable. I mean, the support that we have, the training that is accessible to us, they've revamped everything. The resources, the support, the materials that we can order through them, it's all very catered and it's very accessible. So, what's nice about it is when we have these issues that get brought up, and I'm sure anyone knows this, in any line of business where you're doing, whether it be construction or a house cleaning service, anything of that sort, there's always going to be problems, right? Issues are always going to rise, but the support that we get from the mothership of ServPro headquarters really helps to navigate that space. I mean, it is almost like, I don't want to sound cliche, but it's like we do have all the answers. And it's one of those things where, okay, maybe we don't know the answer this time, but I sure know where I can find the answer for you, kind of thing. And I think that makes a huge difference. So it's instilling that confidence in not only ourselves, internally, but externally with our clients and customers as well too. So yeah, the franchise system really does make a huge difference than your regular mom and pop restoration, fly by night operation kind of system, if you will.
Sure, sure. Well, yeah, that's worth its weight in gold, man, and it's propelled you guys to where you are today. Two licenses at Servpro of Monrovia and El Monte. They cover Bradbury and as well as Duarte, right? Those are the four kind of spaces, but the broader San Gabriel Valley throughout Los Angeles County, Jaime Barraza, the project manager, his owners, Alicia and Homero, Servpro of Monrovia, and El Monte. Those are the guys to call if you should run into a home or business catastrophe where you need some restoration. Jaime, before we go, where can folks get in touch with you guys? How can we get in touch?
Yeah, yeah, of course. So follow us on Instagram. We're on Instagram at Serpro Monrovia, Serpro Monte, and our website, Serpro Monrovia, Serpro Monte. You can find us on there as well too. But the best way to really reach us is, I'm sure if people are trying to going through emergencies, they're not gonna. Well, let me type this in. Let me Google it through. Phone numbers. A phone number is always going to be the best way to reach us. So, um, reach me is going to be the best way. We're available 24/7. So, if you do unfortunately have that leak on a Sunday morning at 3 o'clock in the morning, we're going to be there. So
Yeah.
the best way to reach us is by our phone number, our office line, or even my phone number, because I'm available 24/7 as well too. Sometimes it's part of the job, but for me, I can really appreciate the urgency, because the way I like to see it is, if I was in that situation, I would want someone to be there as soon as possible as well too. So
Right. There when you need them. Right. That's great. Folks, anything that or everything that Jaime just said is going to be in the description of this video in these links below. So check that out. Engage with the folks. They're friendly people. They're franchise owners. They're Servpro of Monrovia and El Monte. Jaime, thank you, man, so much for being a guest here today with us.
thank you for having me, Henry. It's glad to be a part of this.
Know your pros.